Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big roster developments last night, especially on the Sentinels side. Zekken confirming that the rumours are not true. He is not going to be leaving the team, and yes, Zekken will be part of their starting roster for next year. But who exactly will the replacements for Tenzin Sassy be? More rumours emerging last night as to what that might look like. Even Bang of 100 Thieves is now being linked to Sentinels. What might that situation develop into? Massively intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below, because loads of other drama on the day as well. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. I really appreciate all the new subs over the last few days, by the way. And let's dive straight into agent changes coming soon. Phoenix, Sage, Cypher, Gecko, all going to be changed on some level. The Cypher changes are definitely a nerve. That has been made quite clear. Cypher is not going to be as strong as he has been now for some time. So, yeah, Sentinels, if you don't like playing Cypher, rejoice. If you do, then unlucky. A nerf, it seems, is coming soon, in addition to changes on Sunset. So, Sunset's one of the newer maps in the game. It's not the best map, but, you know, it's okay. It's better than some, I would say, that have been added in the relatively near past. Now, one feature of this map, of course, is that Cypher trip, or multiple Cypher trip locations, which are pretty much unbreakable. Riot have confirmed they will be making changes there, so it's no longer so much of a problem. And these are the other changes they've made. This is quite, look, the site looks the same, the B site, which is, of course, one of the problematic places, if not the most problematic place on the Sunset. These are the changes, right? So this wall in the background has been increased in length. We have this new area in the plant location, which I think is probably definitely a good idea. Slight changes to the wall here, of course, to restrict the, the head glitch possibility of some of these angles. That's pretty interesting to think about as well, to make the site maybe marginally more playable. This is another angle of how they've changed some of the boxes around at the back of the site, and also added more space here as well on the back of B site as well. So quite a few changes. I think people are wondering, is it going to change things much? Is it going to change the meta on this site? Is it going to change the post-plant spam meta? The argument might be no, but equally, I think I do prefer what they've done with it now, especially because of this. You guys can first of all see the wall here on the left-hand side is significantly deeper now. There's now like an extra corner there that you've got to kind of worry about as you come out onto the site. But equally, the inside area, inside main, they've changed the cover a lot. So the post-plant spam, basically, like once you got the spike down, what you do afterwards, that is probably going to change with the lack of cover here, right, on some level. So that is maybe one of their solutions that they're going to be going with. Not sure why they got rid of some of these windows up the top, but, whatever. They're going to do what they want to do. This another change to mid as well. Not a massively substantial one, but a couple of features that they're adding in the middle of the map here, getting rid of this tree, so there's more of a corner to think about there. So that's what they're doing to Sunset. I think I like it, to be honest. Whether it's going to massively improve the map, that's another question, but I think they're giving it a good go, to be fair. So, Chet says there's not a lot of cover in main now, so maybe not. So there's some debate really on whether it's actually going to help or make the map worse, but I think that at least they did a good job with trying to make it happen. Let's talk Ascension, some drama going on here. If I hit the refresh, we'll see that DSG have gone down. I know that people are looking at DSG, of course, just because of what they were doing previously, and they are now effectively the Bleed Esports Academy team on some level in that region, but full sense, they are certainly one of the favourites here for this region. They got the 2-0 dub. Boom Esports as well, making their advantage to the upper semi-finals, and this is how the bracket currently looks over there in the Pacific. Obviously, this tournament's going on in Jakarta right now. China looks like this. The grand finals are just underway, and Rare Atom are currently down 2-0 in the grand finals here. This XLG team, they've looked pretty strong, 13-5, 13-5 on the first two maps, but Rare Atom, they've got their 5 rounds here on the Lotus, and yesterday we saw a reverse sweep happen in the Americas. Whether Rare Atom can pull this off, that's going to be a massive deal. But yeah, one of these teams is going to qualify for Ascension in the Chinese region today. But this was the big result yesterday in Americas, with M80 taking down All Night in a crazy reverse sweep fashion. M80 have been big favourites for this tournament. They made the grand finals last year and lost to the Guard. They've made the grand finals again this year. Of course, one of the funny stories here being that Net last year won Ascension on the Guard, beating M80. Now he's on M80, trying to win Ascension again. So either he's going to win it twice in a row, or M80 are going to lose twice in a row in Ascension finals finals, which would be tough. But yeah, they do get the dub after a crazy start, really. They went down 13-3, 13-4, got embarrassed on the first two maps, even on their Pick the Lotus. But then they turned it around. Probably All Knights thought they had this one in the bag. The Sunset goes 13-9, the Icebox goes 13-5, and the Abyss then goes 13-6. So it's funny how it worked out really for M80, the fact that they started so poorly, and then even like 5 maps of a series in a close 3-2, you'd have expected maybe some sort of overtimes. But no, everyone just basically took it in turn, slamming the other team on their map. And definitely, well, we've talked about Sentinels and whether a guy like Xander could be a target. As long as M80 keep winning, then probably that's going to be more challenging. But good series in Kuala Noob, good series in Nismo. They make the grand finals. And well, that game's coming up in a few hours, as we shall see here in a few minutes' time. Let's talk, just before we get to Rostermania, some other drama going down, and certainly in the European Tier 2 side. This is what we talk about often with the support from Riot Games in various regions. The European leagues are difficult to handle at the best of times. There's so many leagues, so difficult to exactly follow what's going on and exactly where things are. But basically, there's been some talk about the fact that much of the prize money that's been earned by these teams just hasn't been paid out, because many of the people that work for the organizations that run the league have either been let go or have left, or something's happened. So there's money owed, and there's like no one to target to talk about it, right? So it's basically what's happening here. And loads of replies saying, you know, for example, Vlad, literally everyone who I knew no longer works at the Surge League. It would be funny if they legit got no one left in the organization, and saying, hey, Leo Faria, have a look at this. Because even Ascens, who confirms the other day they're pulling out of Valorant, says, yeah, this is one of the big problems here. The East Surge League has not paid any prize money to our organization for the entire 2024 year. We have received zero communication about the proposed split 3, which should be starting in a couple of weeks. That small amount of prize money doesn't make much of a dent on an org's expenses, but for a promising team like Trashcan, which is the other organization we saw, it could mean the difference between these players competing in Valorant or giving up entirely. So pretty fascinating, right? And certainly implying that basically Riot Games are sleeping at the wheel. Let's talk Rostermania though. High Min, we talked about him the other day. Rumour has it, according to Tanmay, he's going to DRX. Whether this is true, we shall see, but it's potentially plausible. And also, whether he's going to be on the starting team, whether he's going to be a sub, that might be the expected start, but of course things can change over time. But Zekken, he is going to be staying on the Sentinels. I think really when we talked about it yesterday, the fact that obviously he took the Sentinel stuff out of his name, out of his bio, and also Sentinels got rid of the kind of the tick for him, right? He lost the affiliation with Sentinels, but Drew Spark, who of course is actually officially no longer on Sentinels, still has it for now. So I think, you know, putting 2 and 2 together, it was obviously going to be a bit of a stunt here for Sentinels. That's what they've pulled off here. So pretty nice stuff. They get rid of the chair, and, you know, Zekken sits down and basically says, all right, I'm going to stay on Sentinels, I ain't going anywhere, the deal is re-signed. And that's obviously what we expected to be the case, and it's good to see it. And look, John QT, Zelsys, Zekken, they're not going anywhere as far as we understand. And I think it was pretty nice for Sentinels to actually have some positive things to say, rather than what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, which have been rather challenging for many of the fans. As Rob Moore says, I hope you'll all agree this is the definition of good news. More to come, but it can't come until October the 7th, right? So this is the big date that people are keeping in mind. Players that are currently signed to franchise teams, if you want to, or at least were for the most recent season, if you want to sign them and bring them onto your roster, you are not allowed to confirm that until the 7th of October, or even get those deals done until that date, as far as we understand. Entertaining stuff here for Boaster as well, not gonna lie, especially because he was so fast in this video saying, oh, thanks Sen Kaplan for the opportunity, and then he just gets booted straight out of the screen here by Zekken. But 2 other big things to mention as well before we close out the video on Rostermania. There's an interesting rumour going around from Nguyen, of course, who, well, he, Brazilian reporter, leaker. Unfortunately, many of those Brazilian guys, understandably, no longer on Twitter because, well, Twitter's dead in Brazil. However, Pancada has some experience playing with some of these guys, such as Vinny, who's the man in the centre here, who is potentially an in-game leader. And rumour has it that Pancada is going to stay on Loud. It's a tricky one for Pancada, isn't it, right? Because he was on Sentinels, they allowed him to say, look, you know, we've got Zelsys instead, it's not working out, you know, you're basically free to go where you like. We're going to entertain discussions, and eventually he joins Loud because they looked really good. And you know, obviously, if there was any team that Pancada was going to look to join, Loud was right up there. Now Pancada's like, hang on a second, the team's collapsing. Salak's gone, Les might go. Cowanzan might get sold. Like, there's all sorts of questions that are happening right now behind the scenes. So where could Pancada go? Could he try and team up with Aspas again somewhere, like on Lev? Maybe, maybe not. There are questions. But if he does stay on Loud, which he probably has a contract to do, maybe basically he's going to bring along some of his boys to form the team. And that's kind of the question, right, on whether Loud is effectively going to become Pancada and friends, and whether that's going to be the strategy, which I don't know if is especially successful because, you know, historically in Brazilian FPS games, signing players because you're homies with them hasn't really worked out historically all that well. This, though, is the latest set of spreadsheets here from Rocket Bullets. Always take it with a pinch of salt, but nonetheless very interesting, right? So, look, we know that Zekken is confirmed to be staying. Bang has become a question mark on 100 Thieves. Rooney as well has become a question mark, rumours that potentially he may no longer be there. We know that G2, Oxy, Durka, Jorgamo in conversations. We talked about Ye a couple of days ago. It now seems to be basically a done deal. Jorgamo will not be on EG anymore. He's going to go to another option, maybe Lev, maybe G2, maybe Sentinels, of course, is a possibility over there. But the big notes really to mention are as follows here. So NRG, we talked about Durka the other day, and now apparently trials are underway that Durka is in conversation with NRG to potentially join their roster, or at least trying out to see if that could be the case. Scuba has now become marginally less likely. We're almost certain that Verno is going to be there alongside Som, FNS, and more than likely Ethan. The question is whether they keep Demon 1 or not. They are apparently talking with Durka about the possibility of that, which we rumoured right at the very start as well. But what does this mean for Sentinels? Because Narrate, Jorgamo, and some others in conversation as well. Bang is now one of these. So rumour has it maybe in that controller role, there's a possibility, with Tens of course going, that Bang from 100 Thieves could be someone to consider. And I feel like he probably should be someone to consider as well. But also, how about Marved? Could you bring Marved back into Sentinels? Apparently trials are ongoing with him. As with Scuba, now he's somewhat less likely for NRG. So all sorts of players right now that apparently Sentinels are trialing alongside Zekken, Zeltis and John QT to try and figure out what their best roster iteration is actually going to be. But massively intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
I'd like to thank Coach Kaplan for giving me this opportunity of a lifetime. I've always been a big fan of Sen.